Hã? Ah.
Everything else, if they don't, then I don't know. That's it. It's like 100 kilometers from now.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Do you need anything?
Content creation, internet marketing. What languages?
Oh, offering the service or the product.
Provide free, we sponsor free product, free photo for this event. Of course, we also provide it.
educate us about to advertise us. Wow, so kind of you.
Because also got the logo with the Kickstart logo. You will help the Kickstart to do branding.
Oh yeah, memory.
Hey guys, good evening. It's somehow we are something is Edwin, where's Edwin? Somewhere. Okay, you go towards the toilet. Yes, I know you guys have been taking phone photos with your phone, but this guy is bringing Polaroid back. If you want to freeze printed photo, just go to the toilet, not to pee, but take a photo of yourself, and he'll print it for you. On me. This is me. And then the washroom is there. There's some free coffee vouchers if you haven't bought it, please get it. And we'll start in about 10 minutes while we wait for our late accommodation friends. Enjoy the music.
Look for our company.
Vouchers.
Sounds good. I got you back.
Ini nak potong lagi.
Oh, it's not that big, right? Okay. It's amazing.
Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, I'm the best.
You actually have to use WeChat,
Yes.
not WhatsApp, yeah? I only have WhatsApp.
WhatsApp don't have this feature.
Okay. The direct upload.
Yeah, but WeChat, with the photo, instant photo, you can write your own word, send to your mother, mother I love you, send to your father, father I love you, send to your best friend, you are my best friend.
So currently the app only speaks.
No.
So currently only WeChat support this one.
Because WeChat got this SDK allowed integration and all them don't have. Right, so you have a WeChat, photo
I got no WeChat. I have to download it.
yeah, you download.
I have to download it now. Yeah. Actually, this is a really good thing. But it's better if we can like Bluetooth the photo directly. And then that will be much better rather than just WeChat, right?
The purpose is to do marketing. Right?
Yes.
The purpose is to do marketing. So the purpose when you scan it, you become a follower.
I get it. Okay, it's an ad. Alright.
Go to your friends every minute.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me.
See you a lot on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going for a Ruby one this Saturday.
Going for what?
Ruby on Rails.
Ruby. How does
Ruby girls. Ruby, yeah. Rails girls. Husband and wife.
Huh?
Husband and wife. Really? Yeah. The only ones left are the ones on the back. I think it's different. Maybe you can try the ones on the back. Right up there. Or you could go behind the wall. Yeah.
Shit, there's a lot of virgins tonight. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop some cherries tonight. I'm just gonna tell a simple flow
Cherry
of
joke.
the day. So I will start to tell some jokes and then bring up the speaker, which is Nicola. His partner in crime, Leo, is actually here tonight as well. So later after the talk, there will be a short Q&A, but you can go as long as you want actually. As you know, they are basically the experts when it comes to crowdfunding, especially equity crowdfunding. It's going to be launched in Malaysia soon, right? Yeah. Then after that, we have a 1-minute pitch where you can come up, which kind of makes sense because both of them have been hearing pitches day in, day out. It would be great if you guys can give some feedback as well for the pitches that come up. And after that, we switch off the lights and you go home. So yeah, so basically that's just a simple flow of it, make friends, blah blah blah. A few things. Okay, thank you. Okay, I always forget this, so I need to thank people. Thank you, the registration girls. You changed your name. It's not your thing, is it? Okay, so it's Yuki now. She went to Japan. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Iswan. That's about it. Thank you. The guy at the back is Jiki. It's basically kind of like my brother from a different mother. We know each other since 7. So the rule of business is that I only do business with people where I know the mother stays. So if he bloody hell takes my money, I know who to let me. That's how we go far back. Edwin, he's the guy that's basically giving you free Polaroids, photos. So talk to him. It's a weird selfie. And then we also got some coffee sponsors, which I'll bring up to talk to you about it. And yeah, let's go start with the programming. But yeah, because there's like more than 150 people here, so I do have a bloody safety briefing again. So if ever there's a fire alarm ring, if there's an earthquake or zombie attacks, don't do like what a Singaporean do, line up and get out. Just get the fuck out of the building. That's okay. And for those smart people that think, hey, you know what? If I go up on top, the helicopter's gonna come. Forget it. If you're not Brad Pitt and you don't have a cure for humanity, no helicopters will come. And the last time I checked, the Prime Minister is not here, so no helicopters coming. So please, in an orderly fashion, get out of the building. Because the capacity of this place is, we cannot go more than 150. So if you just keep quiet, we'll all be fine. Okay, so recently, as you know, if you check our Facebook, we were recently at not Madrid, but in Singapore to do some shootings and all that. And we find some interesting stuff that we thought we want to share with the community today. Firstly, if you ever go to Woodlands, I don't know whether Muslims do they have alcohol inside? No, right? Oh, sorry, yeah, obviously they have problems, right? But they have this seafood noodle, which is one of the most, it's like 12 sing a bowl at a market kind of pasar, so they're like the most expensive thing ever. So basically they serve stuff like this. And they give you the soup, which is like this, and you ask auntie, can I have more or not? Cannot. So, you either buy another bowl. So one thing and out of the 4 lunches I had there, 3 lunches was actually at that place, even though the wait is bloody long. And I realized that she knew what was the unique selling point, which is the bloody soup, which tastes really good. So you see at the end of it, you can see GP and me like licking the bowl, which is very obscene. Go try it. You have about a year to try because they're closing up the hawker center already. They are at Woodland Point. And basically I just look out for things. One thing I think as entrepreneurs, you kind of need to know your selling point. Their selling point was particular soup, which is like the secret sauce. Singapore is a shitty place when it comes to cheapskate bootstrapping. Like, they don't give free Wi-Fi. Singapore, if you need, any Singaporeans here, by the way? Leo and Nicola, you're not Singaporeans. Any Singaporeans here? No? So you can bitch about it. Okay. It's one of the most un-Wi-Fi friendly place in Malaysia. And it's also very bad. It's like you go to cafes in Starbucks, right? You can actually charge your laptop as you do work. In Singapore, you kind of can't. So I have to basically stand beside a dustbin and charge my Mac. And here's the best part: they give you free Wi-Fi for 1 hour per phone number per lifetime. So that's how shitty they are, right? And they say a girl that was actually charging her phone at MRT was fined 400 Sing for charging a bloody phone, which doesn't make sense. So for all of you who are always bitching about the Malaysian government, hey man, at least they let you charge your phone. So please be grateful about it. Having said that, they have also banned shisha. If any of you want to like smuggle shisha, although it's going to be a commodity. And the best reason they give is that they don't want the youngsters to start smoking. Which not so smart person like me can think, why not you just ban cigarettes in the first place, right? Because they cannot make money off shisha. There's no tax, but they can tax on cigarettes. So that's how basically how the Singaporean government is. If you buy your own property, guess what? You cannot rent it out within the first 5 years. If you buy another condo, let's say you got lottery, right? You got richer at the 5th year, you buy a private condo which is at 1.2 million, guess what? You cannot stay in your condo. You have to stay in your HDB flat and rent out the condo, which doesn't make sense. So that's what the Singapore government is. Having said that, Lee Kuan Yew, Minister Mentor, is kind of in a very sick health right now. We were waiting to see whether he kind of passed away yesterday. Yeah, but I think it's 91, so I think a lot of people don't really like him as well. That's why Kickstart is never in Singapore. Oh yeah, how many of you have been to Magic in Cyberjaya? Alright, very proud of you, stuff like that. Here's the Singapore version of Magic. It's at Block 79, just next to Block 71. I forgot MRT station, but unlike Magic here, their Magic is actually just 200 meters from an MRT station, which is very convenient. It's a space called Bash. If ever any of you are there, Nicola has been there, check it out, it's pretty awesome. You can chill. This is the coolest thing. There's a chef in the box. They basically put a midget of a chef inside the box. So you put like $4 in it, he cooks pasta for you, and of course he defrosts it, so you put it out in stock. And then this is where you make your phone calls. This little room here is actually a green room, green screen room. So if let's say you're doing any Kickstarter videos or you want to do some green screen tag at the back, you can do it. It's fucking awesome. This one is, and you know what, 24/7 they have a barista that stays in-house just to serve you coffee and cupcakes, which tastes really good. Yeah, there's more. There's one guy here from Magic. You? Okay, you cannot tell Cheryl about this, right? Look, I think the Singapore government is moving a bit good, and it's something that's viable, right? So, this is where you have your meals, free flow of drinks throughout the day. This is the hatchery. I don't think they hatch eggs there, but some of us are full-blooded. And this is the epicest thing ever. It's a zero gravity chair. I don't know what, it's not a bullshit, it's actually really zero gravity. So what you realize is that when you sleep and lean down, your whole body is like, the weight is well distributed. It's almost like you're floating in space. So my friends is trying to solve from China. If you're interested, you can PM me and stuff like that. This is called their nap room. So you take like quick naps in between. Because when you start up, you're not expecting to go 24/7 like this. And by the way, a lot of people, who here likes to take afternoon quick naps? That's very good. A lot of geniuses do that. Try not to go beyond half an hour. 27 minutes, I've done the research for a while. 27 minutes is really very good power. See, at least you come inside and learn something.
27 minutes.
And yes, Erica.
Hello.
Okay, she's the one that's going to give you guys free gourmet coffee.
Yay! Wait, how does it work?
By the way, you can add her on Facebook. She has the weirdest profile photo. She like blocks half her face. And we only have 0 mutual friends. Of course, I don't have her. So, you have to give me a mic. Because she's giving one, is that to everyone?
Yes, to everyone.
Can we play twice? No. I'm Chinese, I need to ask questions. Yeah. So tell us a bit about Grab It and more importantly, how we claim the free coffee. First, then about Grab It.
First of all, thank you, Mary, for giving me a chance
Yeah.
to give away free coffee to all of you tonight.
Very fun. They don't bite.
Okay. So what you can do now is to install Grab It on App Store or Play Store and key in the Kickstart promo code and redeem your cup of coffee. It's valid until the end of April, so you still have time to grab it out. Yeah.
Every day.
No, just once.
Oh.
Can I use another email account to register and then I can account?
You can try. You can try your luck and see if you get another
For those who have like 1,001 email addresses, we're not. Yeah. So what other stuff you're gonna give us next month? Let's see a hustle for you guys, right?
We're gonna give each one of you extra 5 ringgit.
Holy shit.
Unfortunately, I don't have the slide to tell you how to use Rabbit, but you can grab a flyer over there, and check out how to learn it. Yeah.
Okay, so just tell a bit, since you've given us so much stuff, we'll give you like half a minute to talk about Rabbit. What does Rabbit do?
Okay,
Half a minute.
many of you may wonder what the hell is Rabbit. What is Rabbit?
Hold it. You have to speak for it and stand in front of
Hello. Okay, many of you may wonder what the hell is Rabbit. So Rabbit is a mobile app that discover and deliver exclusive deals for the user at the right time in the right place.
location based,
Yes.
deeper.
No, not because. Yeah. So, Erica, I'm going to Rabbit. Basically, when Rabbit mainly focus on hyperlocal, time sensitive, and also personalized. When user they enter the shopping malls, Rabbit will send push notifications of all the awesome deals happening just 2 steps away. So user can check out all the deals and see the deals they want. They can simply grab it, show the e-voucher to the merchant that will help you to redeem it. Yeah.
So what kind of people would you want to approach you tonight about the business? Not personal stuff, but
I'm open to if any of you are interested to know more about Rabbit, you can come to me after this.
okay.
And you guys if interested to collaborate, yeah, we can talk about it more.
What kind of partnerships specifically are people?
We can do event together. We
Oh,
can do
okay.
charity. Yeah, basically we can just try things out.
Okay, thank you. And hands together for.
Yes.
Okay, so you can just look for her at the counter.
Yeah. Don't forget the flyers.
Thank you. Okay, and then next, more free stuff. You can actually go, if you go to this link right here, you can actually get a free ticket to, no, it's not free, sorry, pay very minimally. Come on, something like $10. To listen to Douglas Cook, who basically is like a serial entrepreneur and stuff. He founded a few businesses as well. Next Thursday, 26th of March, that's the link you need to go to. Oh yes, that's another event. This one is free because the main benefactor, the guy with the money, is here. So you want me to play the video for you first, Dr. Lawrence? Okay, most probably he's like the youngest doctor ever. His dog just gave birth to puppies, so that's why they are his grandfather. He's a very low profile guy, but any of you have been to KLCC, there's a place called Sweet Day. He's the one who started it and sold it off last year. So between us, his nickname is Sugar Daddy. Yeah. Can I play the video? Okay. Okay, can we please put our hands together to welcome Dr. Laura? I know you pretty much bankroll this out of your own pocket as well. So why? I mean, what gave you this idea to do this? You didn't blow at this.
Can I just sit?
On the dog? You can just sit in the dog. Actually.
I'll bring the dog. Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Some useful to me. How are you guys? Great! Define you, I'll define you first.
The government defines that below 42. So
Oh, that's it.
yes, then the dog. Come sit down.
Alright, so just in case that I break down later, because I'm not feeling very well, sorry.
You better not say you die on stage or what? You cry.
I go silent.
Okay.
Alright, so first all this formality thanks to our very full friend of mine and thinks that life is a big thing. Yeah, so
Now life's a big shit.
yeah, today's a beach. So what you should know was initiated 4 months ago. I initiated this project because I think I really think that youth should actually play. It's not just about the empowerment part, you know. Why did I start this? Because I think that youth should also do something for the country. It's not only, you know, like what typical motivational speakers speak outside there saying that, oh come on, let's do something, let's go to a conference and everybody, you know, put your hands up and then after that, yeah, at the end then nothing happened and you know, it just goes for maybe a week at most on the Facebook. So when I started this platform, I really wanted this all the news around Malaysia to come into one single place where we really share our thoughts on whatever issue that we want to discuss about. But of course, every year we will talk about different pressing issues, and we want to get youth to actually work it out. You know, it's just not, you know, getting empowered and charged. We always believe in action.
So everyone here is invited to go?
Yeah, of course, please.
Because I know there's like 62-year-old people here as well. So, you know, yeah, but young at heart, right? So they've arranged a great lineup. Marina Mahathir. Unfortunately, Tun N was supposed to speak, but he had a little personal issue. But I think they arranged another session with him.
Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm speaking as well. So, but so when they first approached me about it, it's like you know, the title like this is what you should know, because when I was young, I don't listen to advice. So I'm still thinking actually what to talk about. But I think it's a great event to inspire youth, and you guys can basically go there. Are you still going to be, I know you're ill, but you're still going to be here for tonight, so they can get some sugar from you.
Yeah, because I'll be around anyway, so just feel free to. I think he will actually somehow put my face on the screen later on, and you know, my phone number and my whatever.
Oh, it's so open. Okay. Most politicians do that.
Well, I think I'm a person that I'm open. You know, whatever that I think which is right or wrong. Maybe there are things that I may not be right at all times. Please feel free to, you know, just don't call me and, you know, in the midnight when I'm sleeping. So
when you ask people to not do something, obviously they do.
yeah, so
okay. Hey, thank you so much, Dato. Appreciate it, and thanks for giving everyone a free seat for the event. On behalf of Malaysia, I thank you. If you ever run for Prime Minister, you know I will vote for you. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yes, you can get off. Stick around still. Okay, without further ado, let me take this away. Okay, before I bring Nicola up, when Kickstart first started, the origin story was that we were bitching about, we were bitching about Joel, Neo, and Kylie, how they started groups more, and within 3 months, they saw a trend of group 1, right? And then eventually 3 months later, group 1 came in, buy them over for like $6 million, make them CEO, So we are basically bitching about them at like 11 o'clock at night in schools, people. Yeah, I mean, we're all friends now. Then we started to get more productive after 15 minutes of bitching, and we were looking at what are the things that were trendy in the States, and we actually saw Kickstart. So, weird people at 11 o'clock, we decided to meet at 7 o'clock the next day to register the company, blah, 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 everything. So we got a domain and all that. Then we realized that back then it's actually not kind of legal to actually do crowdfunding because escrow is still illegal, right? Is it? No? Yeah, it depends. So it was pretty sensitive back then. And then we wanted to follow the exact model of Kickstarter, which means each project that got funded, we pay 5%, but we realized that we need to pay the bank like 4%. So kind of stupid business to pay 1%, and so we scrapped it at 8:30 after realizing the flaw of our plan. So we got the domains and all that, but after a couple of months, we decided to pivot. We already paid for the domain, right? So we decided to make it into Kickstart as it is today. So yeah, and then I started. There's already an existing platform here by Sam Shafi called Pigeon. Sam is great, but he always dresses really grungy, and all that. So when I heard Crowdonomic is also coming into the marketplace as well. I don't know, I mean, Leo and Nicola, they look really awesome. They don't wear F1 caps and long hair all the time. I don't know about your younger days, but yeah. So that's why I sort of contacted them, and I know equity crowdfunding. Who here knows a bit about equity crowdfunding? Okay. Who here don't know what crowdfunding is? Okay. Basically, it's in the lingo here. It's called Tong Tong. It's like I want to buy something really cheap, so I group together and I fund something and stuff. But I'll let Nicola talk about it. And with that, can we just put our hands together to welcome Nicola? All good? Thank you. Yeah. Next.
Right. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for being here, for coming tonight. My name is Nicola. I'm the co-founder of Crowdonomic. Crowdonomic is the largest and fast-growing crowdfunding company in Southeast Asia. We launched our business in 2013. We are a financial technology company, and we are based here in KL and in Singapore, but we are Asia player. We receive, as of today, more than 1,500 fundraising requests. We work in collaboration with large corporates like telco companies like Startup in Singapore or Indosat in Indonesia, media company like MediaCorp and Channel Eurasia, and or more global scale with WWF and Earth Tower on crowdfunding and sourcing. We are a financial technology organization. We are expert in crowdfunding. We have headcount in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And the management team has more than 35 years of experience in fundraising, investment, and strategy in general. So this is a bit about ourselves. Let's try to understand who are you. How many of you are entrepreneurs? Or entrepreneur wannabe? Okay. How many of you are investors? Okay. How many of you are planning to launch a crowdfunding platform? So how many competitors I have in the audience? Okay, good. So I'm here tonight to tell you three things. One is why it's a great time to be an entrepreneur in Malaysia. The second is to explain you how crowdfunding is going to change the way we are raising funds today. And the third one, I'll give you some advice if you want to raise funds through a crowdfunding platform, how to maximize the chance to get to your target. Right, look at this picture. The fundraising process and the fundraising regulation hasn't changed in the last 80 years. The rest of the world changed completely. But the way we are raising funds is still the same as those guys are doing. You need to contact investors, you need to try to arrange a meeting, you need to go meet them, show your case, show your paper, your business plan, try to convince them, and then move on to the next meeting, right? Still exactly the same since the Great Depression. Yet the problem is still the same, right? The number one obstacle for a company, for a young company to grow to the next stage is access to capital. 40% of the entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs in Asia, they are saying that access to capital, being able to finance their business, is a major obstacle for them to grow to the next stage. How we are going to change that? How crowdfunding is going to change that? Well, we are going to accelerate the fundraising by leveraging on technology, internet, and social media. The fundraising process is going to be through crowdfunding real time. You're going to be able to access to a larger number of potential investors. You're not going to get only money, but you're going to get also validation of your business idea or your business proposal, and it's going to be much faster. So why is a great time to be an entrepreneur here in Malaysia? Because Malaysia is about to be the first country, or one of the first countries in Southeast Asia to modernize the way we can raise money, right? We can do fundraising. There is a new regulatory framework on the way which will allow equity crowdfunding to operate in Malaysia. So how is fundraising right now? Well, if you are thinking of do fundraising now, you should know that you cannot do general solicitation, so you are not able to let people know or advertise that you are doing fundraising because you are selling securities, equity, right? You can ask for you can have a prospectus that will allow you to do some public disclosure, but it's a very costly process. And even if you get it, there are some limitations on the type of investor, number of investors you can accept, you can contact. So as of now, the fundraising process is an extremely difficult process and extremely restricted activity, right? How it's going to be different? Well, it's going to be much easier to advertise your offer, therefore let people know that you are raising money. You can fully utilize social media and the internet to try to contact investors, and you will be able to use all online process and template to simplify the process. So how is going to be fundraising process in the future? Still going to be a difficult process because it's never easy to raise money, right? But you will be equipped with modern tools to make it more efficient. So let's see what you will be able to do when the new regulatory framework will come in place. First, who's going to be able to raise money? All Malaysian private limited companies, all Malaysian regulated companies will be able to raise money through crowdfunding platform, regardless if they are locally owned or foreign owned. And also, if you are planning to raise a fund, like a VC fund, you will be able to source for investors to equity crowdfunding platform. How much you will be able to raise? So, if you are a private limited company, you will be able to raise 3 million ringgit, right, in one campaign, and total 5 million ringgit spread across multiple campaigns. If you are planning to raise a fund, there is no limit on how much you can raise. Not only you will be able to raise money for a primary issue of shares, so people will give you money, you will need to issue new share to compensate them for the money that you received, so they will be your shareholder. But it will also be allowed to do secondary trade. So if you are an investor, you own shares in a company, instead of waiting for the next exit IPO to cash in, you will be able to trade, save, and basically sell under particular condition your share. Advertising, as I said, will be more, it will be easier to advertise. You can use social media. The only condition that the framework imposed that all the advertisements should go back to your campaign on a registered equity crowdfunding campaign. So who are the investors? Who can invest through a crowdfunding campaign into your eventual campaign? So there are 3 different types of investors: the sophisticated investor, the professional investor, people, VC, people that are already doing this for business now, for work. They can invest how much they want, uncapped. The angel investor, people that are sophisticated enough, that have done it before, that they know which type of asset class they are investing in. They can invest maximum 500,000 ringgit per year and maximum 50,000 ringgit per year. And then there are the retailers, meaning everyone else. They will also be allowed to buy shares of your company if they want. Maximum they can invest in 50,000 ringgit in 1 year, and maximum per year is 5,000. Right. So let's look now how crowdfunding works and why it's going to be a game changer right here in Malaysia. First of all, just a line on what equity crowdfunding is. Crowdfunding in general is a term that is used where many people come together to directly invest in one project, right? It's done through online process. If you are an entrepreneur, you want to raise money, you will launch your offer in a registered crowdfunding campaign. This offer will be, or you will have to spread and advertise to social media via your community and even more. If people like your idea, they will be able to invest, right? If you, during the period of 1 or 2 months within the duration of the campaign, you are able to reach the target that you want to achieve, then the fundraising process is considered successful. You will receive the money, you will need to issue the share to your investor that will become your shareholder. As easy as that. So why is it going to be a game changer? Well, basically because it delivers a lot of value both to startup, entrepreneur, and investor. For startup, it's an efficient way to reach out many investors in one go, right? Online, you can access investors in Malaysia, abroad, in one go. It's been proven that you can raise millions of dollars in a matter of a few weeks, and it's going to be much faster to raise money. As of now, if you do a fundraising campaign offline, typically it takes 6 to 9 months to complete a fundraising campaign. Through crowdfunding, you will be able to raise money in 2 or 3 months, right? So why investors like crowdfunding? One, because they have a centralized place to go and source for deals, right? Instead of going around in events, demo days, trying to meet investors, they go there, single place, all the information that they need to make the first screening, right? The second is that because with equity crowdfunding, they will be able to invest small amount, small ticket, they will be able to diversify their investment. So they're therefore investing in more deals and create more like a portfolio, right? The third reason is the crowdsourced due diligence, right? This is a very important concept of crowdfunding. By having a lot of people looking through your offer, looking through your campaign, expressing a judgment, making questions, and eventually a lot of them deciding to invest, they're actually validating your deals. Because all these people, they have different skills, different expertise, and they're all looking at probably different aspects of this business. If you manage to convince enough people, it's a due diligence process by itself. Second reason why it's going to be game changers, because if you're looking at campaign that went through equity crowdfunding fundraising, they're actually enjoying a better life after the crowdfunding campaign. If you're looking at the business survival rate, 86% of the company that raise money to equity crowdfunding after 5 years, they are still there, they're still alive, versus a normal ratio which is 50%, right? But not only they are still there, 71% of them, they are engaged or they've closed a second round of investment, right? So what does it mean? It means that not only if you close a crowdfunding round, not only you have a better chance to be there after 5 years as a business, but it means that you will still be attractive to investors. And this is probably a second round, so it's probably very professional investor. VC is not PE. Right? From investor point of view, we are seeing now investors that invested in a company through a crowdfunding campaign, they start to get exit. There's one company who 2013 closed a fundraising round that last year went IPO in the US, and the people that invested in that company, they received basically a multiple of 10 of their investment in just 1 year. So great stuff both from entrepreneur and investor. Third reason is that equity crowdfunding is for everyone, right? Whereas, if you are a technology entrepreneur, that more or less, there are people out there that are looking to invest in you. VC, angels, the technology vertical usually well covered by investors. Equity crowdfunding, you can raise money to equity crowdfunding even if your business is in different verticals. As I said, technology is the first adopter. Like Revoke is the company I told you that they raised money in 2013 through equity crowdfunding, and they went IPO in 2014. If you have a business or business will be more in the consumer space, on the retail space, you can also do crowdfunding campaign. You can also try to find investor, right? Whereas now, usually these people, they raise money through family and friends. Real estate also is quite successful in the equity crowdfunding space. Hard Rock Cafe, for example, launched a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for an hotel in Palm Springs. And again, if you're thinking of launching a fund, a VC fund, you will also be able to do crowdfunding for investors or LPs on your funds. And 500 startups have done that in the States. Right, now let me tackle a bit what are the common equity crowdfunding concerns, right? So, online investment, high risk of fraud, right? As of now, there is no case of fraud. It's all very transparent. People, processes, information. The cost of misbehavior is very, very high. I will be stopped and managing thousands of investors. I will be forced to, go public and not doing an IPO after fundraising through equity crowdfunding. It's not true. If the number of shareholders is too large, they can be wrapped into an investment vehicle, and you, as an entrepreneur, as a startup, you will just see one investor, which is the investment company. All the crowdfunding investor will be investor in that company. Because you need to show information about your business, your idea, people are concerned that competitors will steal their idea, right? Well, if you are planning to launch a crowdfunding campaign, you will have a full control of the information that you want to display, right? So you can put out there whatever you feel comfortable and keep all the rest for to send it on demand or to people that you trust or to people you have vetted before, right? So it's in your control how much you want to share about your company or idea. The last concern we often heard is about all these non-professional investors coming to the game, right? So they say, well, the market will be overflowed by non-value add capital, right? So there are two things here. So one, again, if you don't want an investor, you can refuse it, right? If you are saying, for example, one of the competitors that they want to invest in your company, you say, no, thank you, but no, right? The second is that, yes, it's true, maybe a large part of those investors won't be professional investors, but they might be professional in your business, right? They might be, if you are, in the health space, you have a mobile app for doctors, maybe you have a lot of doctors that want to invest in your company, right? Which they bring not only money, but they bring contact, they bring potential for commercial contract. So look at also at investment this way. Great. So now, okay, we are ready to launch a crowdfunding campaign. What do we need to do? What is it about? What do we need to be focused on? Right? Let's look at the best practice. Okay. First of all, if you're planning to do an equity crowdfunding campaign, you will have our website. You need to have the profile of your company. We strongly suggest to have this profile even if you are not planning to launch a campaign soon. Because the way you interact with the investor, they come to know you, it takes some time. Right? They want to know you, they want to get familiar with your idea, the progress of your startup. So start to build your presence online, have your company profile page, keep updated, right? And then when you're ready, you can launch an offer. So what you need to be focused on? Well, the idea is that you need to build credibility about you are the right people, company, business to invest on, right? So first, talk about your team, your people on your board, demonstrate that you have the real expertise and potential to make the business successful. When you create an offer, try to propose an attractive valuation, and remember always to explain to a potential investor how you plan to return their money. So what is your exit strategy? Right? If you have partnership client, make sure that you state it. Right? This is a great way to show traction. If you can get endorsement from client, from expert in your industry, state that. Make sure that you put that as well. If you have any type of asset, IP, particular technology, any competitive advantage, make sure that you put it there as well. Then there are additional information. This is the basic, but additional information like you can put your business plan, you can put your investor pitch, you can put your P&L, forecast. Those are more like sensible information that if you want, you can put it there, or you want to keep it and maybe just release to a qualified investor if you feel comfortable. Second point, very, very important, is about video. most of the investors will never meet you, especially the one that will put very little amount. They will probably never have a chance to speak with you, to speak you in person. So the video is the only way they have to get to know you as a person, right? So what you need to do about video and visual in general? One, make sure that you show your face. Second, that you sell the dream and the vision that you have about your business, right? But not only dream and vision, make also sure that you explain how you are able to execute the business, right? Again, the video is important. It doesn't have to be a super professional video, but it has to be well done. The format is as good as the content in this context, right? What you should not do, like be vague, be boring, awkward, and not show your face and not talk about your business. So now we're ready to launch a campaign. The last thing which is very important to remember is that is all about community engagement. Why? So first of all, make sure that you have a plan, a marketing plan ready, and make sure that you know which segment or which potential investor you want to contact, you want to get involved. Why? Because if you look at the anatomy of a successful campaign, people that manage to raise the money that they wanted, most of the money comes in the first week or two, right? What does it mean? That even if you have 2 months to raise money, in reality, most of the game they are done the first part, the first 2-3 weeks. Because you need to get people excited, you need to create newsworthy news that get viral, and you need to make people feel urgent, or feel that they're missing an opportunity if they're not invested, right? So these things you need to prepare before you go live. Right, so if you're ready to launch a campaign, or if you're looking for fundraisers, what we are looking for a Malaysian registered company, we are looking for people that are full-time in the business and motivated. You need to be at least MVP stage, right, or older. And sector, tech, retail, F&B, consumer, retail, that's fine. There are a lot of investors out there that are open to look at any of us. What we are here to offer as a Crowdonomic, we have a network of international investors. We are constantly in contact with them in Southeast Asia, in Asia, and Europe and US. We can support you in creating a top-of-the-industry campaign. We have the expertise, financial expertise, fundraising expertise, strategy expertise. We are there to help you. If you are not familiar with the process, if you are not familiar with the documentation, you don't know what's a shareholder agreement, you don't know what's a term sheet, you don't know how to calculate it, how to evaluate your company, we can help you and support you there. Obviously, we will take care of all the transaction and the execution, right, for the offer. And at the end, there are extra in crowdfunding. We've been there for a while, so you can trust on that. Right. So if you're looking for fundraising, in the next 6 to 12 months, contact us. Drop us an email or go to our website, Crowdonomic.vc. You can drop your emails if you are an investor, entrepreneur, we will contact you. If you are passionate about crowdfunding and you're looking for a job, we are also hiring. So few positions open. So again, if you think it's something that is is close to your interest and you're a smart and motivated person, just contact us.
In Malaysia or Singapore?
Malaysia.
Okay. Yeah. I like the way how you take the opportunity to hire. Yeah. No worries. Okay. We are done with the presentation.
Yes.
We do Q&A.
We can open for Q&A. Yes.
Okay. Can I get 2 strong guys to bring up 2 chairs and bench the speakers up? So, come with Neil. Okay, so put our hands together to welcome Leo, the actually when I first saw 2 of them, they look really freaking serious. Accenture, Mackenzie, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, Center. Okay. Yeah, so I tried to inject as much humor into this whole thingy.
Right.
Yeah, so I think basically what Nicola has mentioned, I think there are 2 kinds of ways you can approach this. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup, how can crowdfunding help you raise funds rather than going to our government to ask for grant money all the time? Please stop doing that. Or as an investor, you want to know about your risk. It's like what if you don't perform and stuff like that, and how much you can invest, blah blah stuff like that. Those are the questions that you can ask. Anyone with questions? Great. Because you're the first to put up your hand, you shall be now appointed the mic runner.
How's the traction you're getting from Malaysia compared to the rest of Southeast Asia?
Yeah, so as of now, equity crowdfunding, we haven't launched yet, right?
Is that a big deal?
So the process that follow. Yeah, so I won't say any day. So the process that follow, we're waiting, is a regulated space, right? So you're probably familiar with reward-based crowdfunding, right? Where you Kickstarter or Crowdonomic company. So when you can raise money by giving exchange product or service and discount. That is open and running. You know, we are, as I said, we're seeing more than 1,000 projects. Good chunk of them are from Malaysia. This is one part of crowdfunding. What we are talking about here is equity crowdfunding, which is you raise money in exchange of share of your company. Because your exchange is security share, this is regulated by the Security Commission, right? So there is a new regulation coming in place in Malaysia that will allow people like you to raise money for like us. So this regulation went for public consultation, so the framework is ready. Now it's being tabled for Parliament approval. So timing, everybody say very soon. So we're waiting for the Parliament to say it's good.
I know that this is so new that not many countries have adopted it. US is not taking, I think it's like basically letting the Asian companies go basically around first. So Singapore is into equity crowdfunding as well, right? Because,
yeah.
Have they launched it or is it the same stage as Malaysia? So is it on?
Yeah, so maybe so when we started in 2013, crowdfunding was really treated as a unique phrase for primarily for donations and social causes and so on. I think what we see right now is that every major market in Asia Pacific is at different stages of introducing equity crowdfunding. Right? The reason why you need to get the regulators and all the government and politicians involved is because of the changes in the rules. Right? So what Crowdonomic does is we go to every major market, we meet with regulators and central banks and so on to say that, look, if you really want to grow entrepreneurship and foster your SME sector as well, you need to change the rules, right? Because it's absolutely ridiculous that as a startup, you need to spend 6 to 9 months distracting from your business to the capital raising based on the rules, which are close to a century old. So we've been active in most Southeast Asian markets. So Marek mentioned about Singapore. So Singapore has issued the first what we believe to be a series of consultation papers, right? Because of the conservative nature of some of the regulators, they'll do it piecemeal like that, right? Malaysia is by far one of the most innovative and pioneering markets we've seen. So we benchmarked, some of the rules that Nicholas saw earlier, and it's far more progressive and open and inclusive compared to some of the other markets, right? So US is known as like the pioneer of equity crowdfunding, but by now they're actually laggard, right? So they have, it's a bit of a technical story, but they have like 5 titles, which is like changes in rules. Not all of them have been implemented. And the UK market, which actually started later, is considered as best practice at the moment. So that's why Malaysia and many other regulators are benchmarking the UK. And I think that with this Southeast Asia, Malaysia has a good chance of being number 1.
In Dubai or in the Middle East, they already launched it, right? So have they started? Because I know they're like one of the top 10 countries that want to adopt equity crowdfunding. Or any other countries that have actually done it successfully? What do you know from that?
Yes, as Leo said, like the UK is considered to be the one, with a few players that have been really successful. Some in Australia, there are some players. New Zealand has a new regulation, it just came up, just to see a campaign that funded there as well. In Europe, we are starting to see some countries, someone came up with very progressive regulation, therefore the business is growing, other will be more like, I would say, less competitive regulation, so the business is not really picking up there, right? But yes, the interesting part, as you said, is that Asia has the opportunity here to be leading this industry, and particularly Malaysia and Southeast Asia is a good concept.
I'm going to ask all the questions. So Yeah, my brother, there's 1, 2. You'll be rewarded handsomely. You give it a woman first or no? I saw 2 guys put up there. Yes, please, Adrian.
Alright, this is David. So I thought one slide saying that the private registered company, is that only for, as in Senior Berhad and Kiki Limited in Singapore? Or what about sole proprietors or partnerships? Any chance for those guys? And yeah.
So, in the absence of seeing the final published rules, what we understand is that there's only 2 segments. One is the private limited companies, and the other is the Securities Commission registered VC funds. So right now there's no carve-out or exception for LLPs or sole proprietors.
And I get the impression that equity crowdfunding is only if your company is kind of established already, with proper business in place. It's not really for the first 3 years, guys. Would you say that?
It's for seed and serious stage, right? So as I said, you need to have at least MVP, right? It's nothing different from what's going on offline, right? So we are not adding new, we're just making the process more efficient, faster, and better, right? But in terms of investor appetite, you know, it's in the seed funding stage and series stage.
You have a question? Just a minute.
I don't need a mic.
No, we are recording this, so we need your sweet voice.
I'll be on tape.
Yes. Especially when you say something. No, it's okay. It's getting it.
What's the typical exit strategy? How do these investments shift the relationship between investor and normally in time-based, or are there any other ways to do it?
The exit is no different from how the asset class for startups exit today. So it will either be through trade sales or IPOs. People often query that crowdfunding, because there are a lot of complex shareholders involved, is a complicated process. We don't really think so, because if you're a startup and you raise money from, let's say, 5,000 shareholders or investors, you can roll up these investors into one LLP vehicle. Right? So when you exit, you're effectively having the investment capital of 2,000 people, but you only get one shareholder. Right? So again, equity crowdfunding is not about inventing a new asset class. The asset class is venture capital, right? Startups, right? So the exit, everything remains the same. What equity crowdfunding is doing is taking out the friction from the whole process. The friction around, as a business owner, you're an expert at what your business domain is, but you're not necessarily an expert at fundraising. It's taking the friction out of spending hours and hours and hours on structuring a deal or offering, which you'd rather be spending time on growing a business. So it's about taking out the friction. But back to your question, the exit will be the same as all startups today, which is either trade sale or IPO.
How would be, well, they pass the mic, like, because with 1 or 2 single investors, like, you just handle 2 people, right? Like, yeah, not even though you have 1 LLP, some aunties will be like, hey, man, you took my 50 grand, and they're like, because they publicly know about your company. So what's stopping that particular auntie to like, not on your job, I cannot be making money yet? So, is there a way to manage that? Like, how do you do that in UK?
Yeah, first of all, there is no, you should not stop your shareholder to come to your house for an update, right? Because this is what, remember, they give you money, so you need to, be open to them. So some of these vehicles, the one that they brought, there will be maybe someone representing this investor, right? But the reality is that most of the people that invest very little amount of money, right? They will probably be happy to have a quarterly update, right? There won't be people that they want to have active participation on your daily decision on how you run the business. They will not have any board representation, right? So they will be happy and it will be your responsibility, but not because you went to crowdfunding, but just because you have shareholders to keep them updated, and usually it's a quarterly report, which could be just 2 pages in Word, where you say this 3 months we have done this, we achieved this, what are the issues, what are the risks, this is how we're trying to mitigate. And then you can just distribute it electronically and back to your shareholder.
Do they do that through the Crowdonomic platform?
You can do it through a platform, yes.
I'm going to be Chinese, I'm going to ask 2 questions. The first question is, as an investor, what are you concerned about liquidity? I understand that you can trade shares every 6 months to 2 weeks. So what is the steps or procedure that you have to ensure liquidity takes place within 2 weeks while the sale of shares on? The second question is, do you think within the ASEAN countries, in terms of regulatory framework, it will be sort of similar to the Jobs Act in the US?
Normally you don't just ask guys 2 questions. You just answer one.
Okay.
So you're going to take 1 question first?
Yeah, I'll answer the first question, which is about liquidity. So, if you are an investor, you know that, going back to what we said before, the asset class we are investing is early stage business, right? So, high risk, high liquidity, right? High risk because kind of which stats you are reading about one out of 10 will succeed, or right? High liquid because when you have shares in a private company, you know you can cash them out as of now, either with an exit strategy, either with IPO or a credit sale, which if you are lucky will happen in 3 to 5 years time, right? But there is a chance that you will get stuck with that investment for long, right? But that, again, nothing to do with crowdfunding, specific to the asset class. The other side, the flip side of the coin is that you expect, huge return for this type of investment, right? So the secondary market component, right? Again, we are waiting for the regulation to be approved, but as of now, I think it's going to be more like an auction type of thing, right? Where every 6 months, there are 2 weeks where existing shareholders of the company, they can say, we put certain number of shares for sale, right? And then, they will put out the price eventually, and people will start to bid for that, right? But this is a great thing. So this is a major improvement introduced by this regulation because it actually gives you a possibility, even if control limited or whatever, to cash out your share before the potential exit.
Yeah, so just for the record, I think the Jobs Act was visionary for its time, but by now it's the worst framework globally, right?
Right.
So, and the reason for that is, number one, it's capped at $1 million, right? Why $1 million? There's absolutely no reason for that, right? So as an entrepreneur startup, right, you should be able to go through C, Series A, Series B, Series C. This should be a choice given to you, and for you to decide how much money you want to raise through this kind of platform, right? This $1 million cap is completely polite word.
Nonsense.
Nonsense.
That's a bullshit.
Right, so that's one. The second is that the types of disclosures that you need to do are so costly that if you add all of that up, it's close to 20 or 30% of the amount of money you want to raise, right? That would make your cost of capital one of the most expensive in the world, right? And these disclosures have been added by people on Capitol Hill, people who are looking after their own interests, right? So that's why we keep around and we're saying that, look, equity crowdfunding is not going to de-risk anything, right? The risk of the asset class remains, right? So it doesn't help to have documents and documents and documents and encyclopedias of risk analysis and so on, right? The risk is venture capital, the risk is always going to be there. So the second thing is the thing around disclosure, we don't fly for that. The third is the cap on, the type of investors is only credit investors, something to a kind of private. And this is complete ludicrous as well. The whole point, if you look at the investor side, is that people have probably seen this analysis about the top 1% rich people getting richer and richer and richer, and how the middle class today are going to become the lower middle class in about 10 years' time, right? So it's moving this whole venture capital equation away from a elitist scheme to something that investors should be able to invest in as part of their overall investment portfolio, right? So if I'm rich, which I'm not, right, I'll be spending about 30% of my portfolio, my wealth, on property, about 30 on public markets, right, and then about 10% the balance on alternative investments, of which half might be venture capital. And that's how I increase my wealth, right? And there's no reason why, just because you don't have $10 million, $20 million in wealth, just because you don't have that, you're left out of this. So when we go to market, we say, do not benchmark the jobs act. Use visionary for its time. It had the intention that would be phased approach, but right now it's completely outdated, right? Each Asian market has its own market need, right? It should be able to develop its own unique framework according to its needs.
Actually, if you want to know a real life experience of how the Jobs Act affected the crowdfunding process, how many of you listen to the startup podcast, like Gimlet Media? No one listens to podcasts. Okay, if you go to Gimlet Media, there's this guy who's doing a podcast on how to start a podcast company. Yeah, it's very mental, but so what this guy does is that he records every conversation he has. He was pitching to Mike Zucker of Twitter. He bloody recorded the whole conversation. And he actually talks about, I think episode 7 or 8, they went to crowdfunding because they wanted to raise up to 1.5 mil. The last 700K they wanted to use crowdfunding. And there was this good friend that wanted to put in, I think, 30 to 40 grand, but she couldn't because of the Jobs Act. So Alex Bloomberg, who's the main character of the startup, it's a real life show. If you go and watch it, it's really live. So they actually explain how they talk to some government officials about it, interview a few people why, like you said, the middle class who are sometimes cash rich, maybe they're just, their portfolio is a bit, they can't invest in crowdfunding, which I think is not really, I don't think the Asian countries are actually adopting that. Like you say, it's already, it was launched in 2011. Yeah, Obama introduced it, so it's pretty outdated. Yeah, go to Gimlet Media, listen to the startup podcast. Episode 8 talks about it. Any other? Yes. Just the mic, right?
The mic.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. For example, today, me, myself, and Marco, right, we are going for equity crowdfunding. However, our company is not being managed just like the public research co, where we don't have audit committee to fully oversee all the finance and so on. How can we actually convince the public that we are not misusing the public fund, that their money are actually in safe hands?
Yeah, so about the audited financials, right? So part of the framework that says that if you want to raise more than $500,000 ringgit, you must have audited financials, right? If you want to raise less, they are, nice to have, but they're not. It's not a requirement. An advice, always have it. Maybe just invest in the cheapest, audited company ever, but just that will really give a lot of reassurance to the investors, right? It's money well spent, right? But then again, how do you convince investors you are the right person, that you're going to not misuse the funds? It's about credibility, it's about transparency, it's about whatever information you put out there. People will go through it. If they're not happy, there's something missing, they will ask you a question. Is the way you answer to those questions? Is the way other people commented on your answer? So it's a crowdsourced due diligence, right? So you will be very exposed during the 1 or 2 months, right? You will need to prove that you are the right person, that you know your business, you can defend your business, and and you need to convince them that you are the right person.
I know it differs from business to business and market to market. What's the usual expected returns? Because you're not talking to savvy investors all the time, so it's like this really rich aunt or aunt. It's like you can ask me the question, how much can I get? So, like based in UK, so this means you.
It's a difficult question, right? Because it really depends on which industry you are in, how your business is doing, and which type of exit you go for. So I guess it's more like it's risk return, right? So I can't tell you how much you will get, because the probability you will get, it needs to be weighted with the probability you get, right? So for you, like it's a portfolio approach, right? So I have this money that I'm ready to invest in a high risk class. So what are the options like that? I can put it on the stock market, right? Whatever is the return, I don't know, you look your index, right? I can put it in this company which I really trust the team, that really convince me, and maybe they're going to be the next Facebook, right? But as advice, we always say you need to put the amount of money that you're ready to lose, right? Exactly. The investor says just put as much as you are ready to lose, right? And then, think about which other alternative you have, right? And then pick the one that you use with that.
Make sure they are a bit savvy as well. Yeah. Okay, so you guys are simple.
I'm just Chinese, so I have 2 questions as well.
What's wrong with you? Are disgracing my race? Come on.
First one is,
yeah, first question.
Okay, so one question.
yes. So first one is regarding your business model. I'm curious to know how many percent you actually take from every transaction.
Okay, so we haven't disclosed yet for us, but I can tell you in the industry in general, right? So the cost of capital, someone calculated the cost of capital for an entrepreneur to go and do fundraising to VC or anything, taking everything in account, due diligence costs, legal costs, the time that you spend to pitch what is that, is about 13% of the amount that you raise, right? So true crowdfunding has to be cheaper, right? Because it's online, streamlined, more efficient. If you look about what's going on around, is around 5-10% in the UK, in the US, right? There are also other type of way that operator they get just a share of the amount raised. Other that are more like fixed cost for extra services, and so on and so forth. So there are different.
So you can actually trade that share itself.
It depends on the regulation.
Yeah. Okay. So I think in Malaysia they allow you to get shares in lieu of percentage fees.
Okay.
Some markets they will allow you to go to the marketplaces.
I see.
Second question.
You remember? Okay.
From a general public perspective, right? How do you know that they are ready to do crowdfunding?
Not sure I understand the question. From general public.
Yeah. So crowdfunding is basically funds from the general public apart from the investors, right? So how do you know, or what research do you have done to know that everyone is ready to invest something money?
Right. Okay. So let me take that one. So typically, any market you go to, right, whether it's India, China, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and so on, between about 3 to 12% of the adult population is already putting money through what's called informal VC, right, which is basically investments in startups, right. So that's already happening today, right. Of that 3 to 12%, about half of that is what's called angel, so it's not your immediate, father and mother and so on. The instruments vary, right? So sometimes it will be in exchange for interest rate return, right? In some cases, it will be for shares or equity. Right? So in general, the markets are already there, right? And it's just a matter of how to activate them, right? So when we think about priority of markets for activation, we look at a couple of things, right? So one is we look at the proliferation of social media, just because distribution, validation, and use of social media is such a key thing, right? So that's one. The second thing is we look at actually if investors are open to new financial instruments. And I think that there are BCG and all these other firms from time to time will do reports on that. And I think Malaysia actually ranks high in terms of investors trying out new asset classes. The third is basically what we see. So we'll go to some markets and say that, well, really good entrepreneurs, but I think maybe it's maybe 2 years too early for this kind of stuff. We kind of walked away from some markets. I think that when we came to Malaysia like 2.5 years ago, it felt a bit too early. But with all that's going on right now, we feel that, especially with Malaysian startup agencies, etc., looking outwards, right? So having Malaysian champion startups with Southeast Asia and so on, we think it's a really good time actually to introduce this because these guys create visibility for many other startups as well.
Second last question. Unless you take two.
Yeah, one will.
We have two Chinese.
following up again. What are you doing or plan to do to attract retail investors' eyeballs?
Sorry, retail investors.
Eyeballs. How do they come to you?
Yeah, so there are two components, right? One is education, right? So a lot of people in this room know about crowdfunding, right? But a lot of people out there they don't, right? So we do a lot of events, we do a lot of events like this or workshops where both for investor and for an entrepreneur to explain how crowdfunding is, especially for retail investors, right? So one is through education, and the other one is through like every other business, marketing.
Yeah, so, we haven't still gotten to their formulation, but in Singapore, we're in the major newspaper every other week, right? So this is our platform to raise awareness to the general public, right? My general thought is that to get retail investors, you don't target retail investors. You have to target notable angel investors or bigger investment funds, right? Actually, to get interested in the website and also the companies with the discount on the website. And through these kind of like, reputational investors getting involved, that's how you actually get retail investors interested. That's how you create a story. So we're not eBay. We're not going to spend millions and millions of dollars on SEO and meta tax, equal investing, tax, blah, blah, blah. What we'll do is we'll think about how actually marketplaces develop more from a financial point of view, right? So that's why we say it's fintech, right? Sometimes we put on a technology kind of, sometimes we put on financial services. So if you think of that, you want to develop a bond market, or you want to develop a stock market, or you want to develop a new kind of asset class. There are different ways to build up that market versus the pure web-based marketplace.
Last question.
You mentioned that social media can be integrated into this, and how does that work? How do you use Facebook particularly?
As you see fit, right? So when you talk about your business, when you talk about your products, when you talk about your team, you think about how you're using your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, platforms, and each of them probably have different positions for your business. The whole point for us is to basically remove those restrictions, which disallow you from using them today. So, you should feel fit to use any of these social media platforms, right? Because our job is to get those barriers away, right? If we started to tell you how to use each individual platform, we'll do it out of good spirit, supporting and advice. But it's ultimately up to you to use that new degree of freedom to basically raise funds as any way you want.
Okay. Yeah. Any final advice that you want to give to this crowd? Okay, thanks, man.
Again, if you want to know more, if you are interested in raising a fund through a crowdfunding campaign, come to our website, drop an email, apply for a job, if you want to apply for a job, and then raise a campaign is also fine.
Leo, final words?
So the reason why we're excited about this is because for the first time in close to a century, right, the keys to the kingdom are in our hands. Right? Everything you see in front of you has been, whether it's a video camera, whether it's a stage and so on, has been decided by bankers, or it's been decided by investment bankers and so on and so forth. People who are not interested about innovation, but people who are just interested in some checklists and so on. For the first time, startups and entrepreneurs can actually take this newfound liberty to raise money for themselves, right? And for the market, like investors, to also give birth to products and services that they really want, as opposed to being handpicked by someone else. Malaysia, you are in a very, very good place, and I really encourage you to grasp this newfound liberty to really grow the startup ecosystem here, and I'm sure that you'll do a great job.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, but it doesn't come to you for personal question, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you for. We wait for the switch off the lights first. Okay. No, because like cooking both of them, they're like they're so ready. Okay, so it's time of the night for a little pitch. So much better. This is like the Instagram setting for taking photos. Okay, so you can come up here, 1 minute pitch. I know Martin has something to pitch. Yeah. She always has something to pitch about. Basically their whole focus is pitching a platform since day one. So okay, just 1 minute. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. How are
Hello.
you feeling? Great. Very good. Okay, so how many in here would like to get some funding? Like, let's say 1 million ringgit? Hands up. Okay. How many here would like to get free training from industry experts in your own fields? Let's say Microsoft if you're doing ICT. Yep. Great. Okay. In April, we are running an acceleration program called the Halal High Tech Challenge. It's free. It's sponsored by Platform Ventures. We're searching for 10 SMEs. We have 10 million ringgit. We're going to spread those 10 million ringgit on the 10 SMEs. On top of that, we're training 20 extra SMEs as part of our selection process. So in total, we're training 30 SMEs, and 10 of them will get 10 million ringgit. Questions?
Can I talk some money?
It starts the 11th of April, and the first session will be in Microsoft's offices in KLCC. They're one of the partners. And you can apply at Halal Tech Challenge today. Deadline is in a week.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it's still in the round, right? Diane, do you want to do any singles in the house, by the way? Nicola, really? No. Oh, you go by the zip code.
Diane, come on, guys.
Yeah, Diane is an old friend because she runs a singles meetup. I was momentarily single for a while. And when I bought the ticket, I found a girlfriend. So obviously,
Yay.
without even going to the event, right? So yes, we got yeah, it's free food anyway. We should pay for it.
Anyway, the last time I pitched in this event was about 2-3 years ago, right? I remember it was in, we don't have like a big place in here.
Where was it? Chapman?
Yeah, Chapman.
Chapman, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So can I just have a show of hands how many here in this room are single? Not just tonight, but it's the current students.
Man.
Yeah. Just be honest.
Yeah, market them more.
But I'm sure most of you will have friends who or relatives who are single, i.e. not attached yet. Or some of you are very quite shy, you know, like
Facebook search.
who actually like
Am I shy? Serious?
last minute. Feel free to talk to me after the event because I'm going to organize a singles party on coming next month at April 18th at New Central. So I'm inviting a group of singles people to join. Initially I started for only 50 packs, it's quite a small event, but currently there are already 51 of them paid for the event. So I'm thinking to enlarge the size for the guests.
So I have to ask this what's the female? Because I've been to some shitty events, 49 guys and 1 girl. So yeah.
Rest assured, we are going to try our best to actually get an equal ratio of guys and girls for the event.
Fair enough. Thank you. Yeah. How much? You pay for the food, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
we pay for the food. Yeah.
So
It's actually paying for the food, lah.
yeah, pay for food.
We take free every time.
So for those who are signed up with me tonight, then you get a special rate. Actually, we closed the early bird rate already. But if let's say you sign up with me tonight, I can still extend it for you only for 1 night. So come and check out with me.
One night
It's
stand.
yeah, it's actually much cheaper compared to those commercialized dating company like Lunch actually. I think they charge quite a
Yeah, just down the block.
yeah, I know. Many of my clients are coming from used to join Lunch actually.
Yeah, but Lunch actually is a Singaporean company, right? They basically, the guys tend to be really weird at dinner. So their idea was, well, let's do lunch, at least, hey, gonna go back to work. So, especially the guys who do that, right? So, yeah, so look for Diane, she's gonna be mingling around, and I'm single yourself. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Who else wants to speak? Is it that scary?
What?
Really only 2? You have like 2 possible investors here which are bloody cash rich Singaporeans. Yeah, come man. Bernard, don't be shy. Squeak. What new idea you gonna do with it? Because right now you come here, you have a new idea, right?
No, it's still the same idea.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So, can I have a show of hands that anyone here actually believes that Mark Zuckerberg will become a billionaire due to he developed Facebook? Wow.
Is that like a trick question?
Well, there are quite a number of them. So, the thing is, maybe some people will think that it's a yes, but personally I think it's a no. The reason that Mark Zuckerberg become a billionaire is due to his IPO. We know that back in a couple of years ago, his IPO is worth 100 PE. In other words, on that day itself, you actually pay him 10k or any amount of money. It takes you 100 years for him to pay you back the amount of money that you actually invest. That's how he becomes a super billionaire. So currently we are a startup that with 10 co-founders, we are going to build up anyone into tech investment, and whoever that is interested to join our movement can just engage with me. What we are looking for is someone with determination that eventually with just a single idea you can actually go through like crowdfunding. After that, go through venture capital that they can turn your company into structure your company into IPO listed available company. After that, being IPO.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that. Hey, we have done our pitch mind shit, so nobody wants to pitch anymore. Okay. Oh, then come now, please.
You good?
Yeah.
So I can give this.
This work for Alibaba. No. Alibaba killer.
Hi guys, hi everyone. I'm not here to pitch any idea. It's just that I'm looking for PHP developers and Drupal developers for my company that I'm working. It's a financial media company called Red Money.
Right. Any coders here, by the way, just out of curiosity? Yeah, there's a coder there.
Are there any PHP developers that can also work on Drupal and as well as adding videos? Because we're trying to develop a very niche product which will be themed or based on a YouTube model.
Yeah, but that's what I talk about. Yes, this is really good. It comes to everything, so of course it's good.
Okay. So if there's any interest or if you want to know more details, just grab me here. I'll be around.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, guys. Cool. Adrian. Currently just finished managing code division. Looking for guinea projects to work on.
Well, that's not what my first pitch. I'm Adrian. I'm Kickstart.my. So, how many of you noticed the fancy lights underneath my payment?
Kind of drop off the ball.
No one, right? So, that's not really a good example, I guess. Okay, I started a company recently that does maker education. Still very blank stare, so nobody knows what I'm talking about. Anyway,
demographic.
So maker is, well, it's me. It's you, and everyone else. So what is making about? It's really just this revolution that's happening. It's not new, right? Overseas, it's been around for years. Maybe you've heard of the Arduino, Raspberry Pi, the Global Black, yada yada yada. Alright, so but in Malaysia somehow the community is quite fragmented. I know you have busy lives, so I guess we want to package it easier. So this here's the Pi. I run workshops most Saturdays of the month. Basically teach you in one single day almost, well, everything you need to get started.
Except advanced version of the Myron video. So think through.
So if you don't know what I'm talking about, think Kemahiran Hidup for Malaysians and DIY for the non-Malaysians, but the high-tech version of it. So you don't actually have to know programming, although you will do some programming. You don't actually have to have a technical background. Alright, just if you really want to know what this baby can do. Alright, this is a credit card size computer. It is actually plug in the monitor, keyboard and mouse, and it is the computer you can use for everything.
You can run Windows 10 on it.
Soon you'll be able to run Windows 10. Yeah. So I'll be doing something with the guys at Microsoft. If you want to join that one. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Adrian.
Alright.
Yay! They are basically from my Alpha Startup Batch 3. Property sales support. Yeah, this is one. I'm using double mic, that's not just one. So. Oh, this one. Okay, hi all. We are from Zobosh. My name is Gadi. This is my co-founder there. Just a question before we get into it. How many of you are currently renting a place? Wow. Cool. Okay, how many of you are real estate agents? Cool. No. We're not gonna dish real estate agents. So maybe I'll let Claire tell you what we're gonna do.
So just in a nutshell, we allow tenants, landlords, and agents to connect and transact long-term rental. So we are a C2C marketplace, and we have been operating in Singapore for 1 year, and now we are launching this in Malaysia in a few weeks, depending on our objective.
Correct. So you know your pain points when I know how hard it was to find that rental place of yours, that the place that you're currently calling home. You spend like 2 to 3 weeks doing your research online, another 2 to 3 weeks calling up the agent or calling up owners, trying to negotiate the right price. And by the time you get the place, you are already like so mentally exhausted from all that pain point. So we really want to make it simple for you. We want you to be just like Match.com, just like Tinder. We want to present these properties right in your face. And these are the properties that you have already approved, that we really like based on your categories. So that's what we're going to do. And how many of you think that this is a good idea?
Early adopter.
You're in the right
Are you still an agent or ex-agent?
Yes, I'm still an agent, but
So he kind of knows what goes through and stuff like that. So yeah, get the properties for
So we are in the midst of raising funds. We are halfway there, safe to say.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty good news because we just started aggressively looking for funds about a month back. So we're still looking for funds. Another 200 to 300,000 more. We're close around, and no more money coming in. At the same time, we are also looking for 1 or 2 developers who are quite keen to, if they see this vision and they want to join the boat, we are being more than happy to talk to you.
Also, very nice interns.
Oh yeah. And we got a really cool place in Cal Central that overlooks the entire city. So if you like nice offices and can look us up. Go to zoposh.my, ZOPOSH.my. It's a landing page for now. I think you can leave your contact details. Let us know whatever you feel like telling us. Or if you have a cool idea you want to work with us, why not just look us up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Hey, thanks for the phone as well and the iPad. We are non-profit, so everything I see is mine. Okay, so I'm not going to back. Basically, we do have a few ventures out of sleeve, but this is the one that some of you have gotten some emails from me. Basically, if you go there to gogodojo.co today, you actually see a landing page. We are part of the TM Accelerator program, the same program that Kenny and I went through. So what we are looking for is to kind of validate the market a bit. We put a sample of what we're going to be doing. It's like a sample video. The idea is that the reason why we call it Gogo Dojo, it's actually a temple on the move. So let's say you want to learn more about pitching, you want to learn more about sales. All the videos have been cut down to like no more than 8 minutes. So you can basically just watch it. There's a quiz at the back if you feel like it before you move on to the next video. And you can always interact with the subject matter expert as well. Every 1 or 2 weeks, we will schedule a time where you try the technique, it didn't work, you can ask the subject matter experts. But we're not selling anything yet. We're still in the basic building our MVP. It will really be useful if you take down the website, go check it out. I'm not forcing you. If you like the concept, leave your email address there, stuff like that. If you get a certain number, maybe get some money. But we are looking to launch it either end of April or first week of May. So if you're into the education space, you think you want to do what Udemy is doing and all that, come and talk to us. And with that, actually we're done for the night. It's quite early. So yeah, you can still mingle. I'll play some music for a while. But what's going to happen is that at 10:30 we switch off the lights, switch off the AC, and we serve beer downstairs. That's my way to get you out of the building because I need to go back at 10:30. So with that, still mingle around, meet new friends, collect your coupons for the free coffee, and see you at the next Kickstart where we are featuring the founder of My Burger Lab, trying some burgers, and finally a Malaysian. Yes. Thank you, everyone.